Ho ho!
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you know, we don't usually share many opinions here on the channel, but this time, the circumstances really call for it. This turned out to be a rather long video, so bear with me guys. Real Madrid's crisis, which technically isn't that serious if we look at it from the outside. We're still in the top 8 of the league phase in the UEFA Champions League, but in La Liga, we're 4 points behind Barcelona, assuming we win the match against Alaves. According to reports that came out 2 days ago, Real Madrid have told Xabi Alonso that if he doesn't win the next match, he will be sacked immediately on Monday. So far, Alonso has lost 4 matches as Real Madrid's head coach. If we compare that to Lopetegui, who was fired after 6 defeats, we might think the difference isn't that big. However, up to this point, Alonso has 11 wins in La Liga, while Lopetegui managed only 6. So let me ask you guys, out of everyone involved, the players, the president, or Alonso, who is really to blame for the current situation? Even though Alonso has made several mistakes, in my humble opinion, I can't see him as the main person responsible for what's happening right now. On the other hand, the players and the club's leadership carry much more responsibility in all of this. A few days ago, Mohamed Salah, Liverpool's right winger, released a statement saying, and I quote, "Now I'm on the bench and I don't know why. It feels like the club has thrown me to the wolves. That's how I feel. I think it's very clear that someone wanted me to take all the blame." He also said that he doesn't have a good relationship, or any relationship at all, with his coach. I bring this up because, in a way, people have tried to link the Salah versus Slot situation with Alonso versus Vinicius. This happened after Vinicius publicly showed his frustration about being substituted during El Clasico against Barcelona. However, Vinicius never made statements like Salah did, and Vinny was not punished. Contrary to what some people think, the problem between the coach and the players doesn't come from this single event, but rather from deeper circumstances within the team. Vinicius was demanding recognition from his coach, not only for his performances, but also for the importance and hierarchy he has within the squad, a level of status that Alonso had already acknowledged with Mbappe, Valverde, and Bellingham, but not yet with Vinny. There are 2 events prior to El Clasico that give us clues about what's really going on inside the team. Shortly after the season started, Fede Valverde said, "I already told the coach that I don't want to play as a right back, that my position is midfielder." Many people interpreted those comments as imposing, and maybe they were, because Valverde later had to change his version of the story. The second event was Jude Bellingham being named in the starting lineup for the derby against Atletico Madrid. Jude was returning after a long absence from the pitch, yet Alonso started him in a very demanding match that required intense physical effort, especially in midfield, something Jude was clearly not ready for. So I ask you guys, why did Alonso start Bellingham in that match? Why did Alonso play Valverde as a midfielder instead of a right back against Celta Vigo? Let's remember that Alonso was forced to play a center back as a right back and a left back as a center back, completely breaking the defensive balance and the team's overall harmony. Real Madrid's squad is divided into several hierarchical groups. There's the South American group, led by Vinny and Valverde, joined by Rodrigo, Militao, Endrick, and Mastantuono. Then there's the French group, led by Mbappe, along with Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and Mendy. Floating independently between both groups are Bellingham and Courtois, who, despite being separate, carry a lot of influence. Finally, there's the rest of the squad, which doesn't have much decision-making power. When Alonso arrived at the club, he became aware of these groups and tried to manage the situation the best way he could. This is something completely new in his managerial career, which obviously makes things even harder. However, these divisions already existed last season under Carlo Ancelotti, and despite his vast experience, even he couldn't fully control them, and last season's results are a direct consequence of that. When Real Madrid won their 15th Champions League title, these groups didn't exist. It was essentially one united group, led by Toni Kroos and Luka Modric, and before them, Karim Benzema, supported by key players like Carvajal and Nacho. But with Kroos and Nacho leaving, Carvajal's long-term injury, Modric taking on a smaller role, and the arrival of Mbappe, the squad became divided. Without clear leaders, full of talent, but with egos completely out of control. The lack of real leadership is something Karim Benzema himself has recently pointed out in an interview. On top of that, Carlo Ancelotti is a coach with a soft approach, something he has openly admitted many times. Last season, the team barely trained tactically or technically, focusing almost exclusively on physical recovery. Ancelotti explained this repeatedly in press conferences, blaming the tight match schedule. The result was increasingly erratic football. The statistics from Ancelotti's final season were very poor. Shots on target, won duels, passing accuracy, and total distance covered per match all declined month after month. Don't get me wrong, guys. Carlo Ancelotti is a fantastic coach and a football legend to whom we owe a lot. Still, he has never won a major title in back-to-back seasons as a manager. This was something both he and the players knew, which created an overly relaxed environment last season. No pressure, no challenges, too comfortable, and completely disorganized. We also can't ignore the role of the club itself. Led by a president globally recognized for his administrative skills, but largely absent from sporting matters. The team was neglected, while he focused on legal issues related to the stadium and concerts, battles with UEFA, conflicts with the Spanish FA and La Liga, trying to save the poorly planned Super League project, and even forming alliances with Barcelona, a club that has openly mocked the law and Real Madrid itself. All of this showed a club drifting aimlessly, without a true captain on the pitch, and without a president truly present. This is what Xabi Alonso inherited, the result of a president and a coach who left behind an ungovernable, undisciplined squad. In my humble opinion, Alonso is not responsible for the results we're seeing on the pitch. Players missing simple passes, showing zero creativity, standing still for large parts of the game, and still being among the teams that run the fewest kilometers per match. That said, we also have to admit that Alonso has made mistakes. In his lineups, in his substitutions, in not involving the entire squad, which only deepened the divisions, and in some tactical reactions. However, these are not enough reasons to justify his dismissal. Sacking Xabi Alonso would be yet another mistake by Florentino Perez, and a huge act of irresponsibility by a group of players who know they will never be blamed. The chain always breaks at the weakest link, the coach. Any other manager would face the same scenario, and it's hard to believe the outcome would be any different, especially with so many injuries in the squad. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. I'd love to hear your opinion, so please leave it in the comment section. As you know, I may not be able to reply to everyone, but I do read every single comment. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next time.